Hey guys. Hey, this is Matthew. And the last time we left off regarding the Fan-Zine project, we're looking at this VMP or Vinyl Me Please, beautiful kind of publication precedent. And I think the typography and the layout of this document is really wonderful. And so if you're working on this project, you have received um, these scans from me. Okay, so I'm just going to open up a few of them. And by the way, there are 16 pages total, so 1 through 16. So you can kind of see they were scanned on my machine, but they have not really been cropped properly so that they can fit into your document. Okay. And so what I want to do, I know sometimes, folks just maybe need a refresh, or, it's just helpful to see this again, but I'm going to walk you through how to go and crop these really fast and then place them on a layer within your InDesign document. And we're going to be doing the cropping in Photoshop, and then we're actually going to place those documents or files into InDesign, okay? Because InDesign is basically the software application that we're using for the VMP project. So if I click, this is where we left off, the last time we were taking a look at this file. And you can see that all 16 pages have been created. There is this first page that has been placed, but obviously this is before it has been cropped, okay? So what I need to do is I need to go back to my Finder. I'm actually going to hold Shift with my left pinky, and I'm going to select all of those files. Then I'm going to right-click, open with Adobe Photoshop. Okay. And so let that think through this for a second. There we go. Good. Okay, so now we can kind of see, like, check this out. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, yada, 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 all the way up to 16. So we're ready to kind of start this mission. So I'm going to click on the tab that says 1.jpg, which is the first page. I know that, let's see, actually, I need a refresher myself. Hold on, hold the phone, folks. I'm going to go back to InDesign. I am going to go to my preferences, and I want to go to, no, never mind, go to File, then Document Setup. I need a refresher on the width and the height, and this is 8 by 10.5, okay? It's not 8.5 by 11, it's a little bit different, so 8 by 10.5. Why do I need those numbers? Because I'm here in Photoshop, and I'm going to hit C for crop. So there's the Tools panel over here. Hit C for crop, and I want it to be 8 by 10.5, okay? And now I have the aspect ratio set up. By the way, you don't want this set up, like you don't want any inches or increments associated with this. So no pixels and no inches. It needs to just be 8 by 10.5. And in that circumstance, you're concerned with the aspect ratio, okay? Not the actual pixel or inch dimension of the document. That's good, okay? So the first thing I want to do is, because I scanned this, uh, the images aren't always perfectly straight. And so Photoshop has this really cool straighten function where I can click this, and then if I zoom in on my machine, and by the way, the way that I was able to zoom in was by hitting Command the plus sign next to the delete uh, key on your keyboard. Okay, so now I'm just gonna drag, click and drag all the way from the left to the right, and then just let go. So now it's perfectly straight. Now all I have to do is just kind of bring these corners in and sort of massage this into place. Okay, pretty cool. It's really fast too, right? That didn't take it out. Granted, in theory, this is 8 inches wide. It's actually just a little bit shy of 8 inches. And so that's okay because the goal is we're using this VMP precedent as a backdrop on the InDesign file so that we can kind of be inspired by the placement of letter forms, by how organized the document and the arrangement of the information is, et cetera, et cetera. It's really good, honestly, to copy things that work in design. We're not reinventing the wheel here. This is publication design, and we need it to be functional. So when you're ready, there's a little checkbox up here. You click that checkbox, and of course, we have a serious problem here because this is upside down. Well, the way that we can fix that is image, okay, and then I'm going to come over here to image rotation, 180, and now it's right side up. Hit Command 0, we can see it. And the most important thing is now we're going to hit Command S, and we're going to save that JPEG. Now that we're done with that, we can hit Command W and close out that particular tab. Notice how 1.jpg disappeared up here in Photoshop, and now the first one on your far left is 2.jpg. Well, we can also go over to InDesign. And by the way, like this is a really great function to do when you're toggling between these Adobe applications, is if you're on a Mac with your left hand or your left thumb holding Command, hit Tab with your pinky, and then continue to hit Tab until you can get to the application that you want to highlight. And I want to go to InDesign. So I'm going to just let go. Okay. So now we are in InDesign land. Pretty cool. So it's a really efficient way. I know it kind of sounds a little bit silly, but it's a very efficient way to pop between these programs. Okay. Now here's the next thing that we're going to do. Let's this is the old unedited version of JPEG 1 or 1.jpg. Well, we just corrected a new and better version of this. So I'm going to click this, okay? Now I'm going to hit Command D for place, okay? And this dialog box will pop up. If we want to do it manually, we come over here to File, Place. And just as a reminder, we're not in Photoshop right now. We're in InDesign, okay? We're using multiple applications to solve this design problem. So we cropped and saved in Photoshop, but now we're going to place that document or file within our InDesign project, okay? So now we're going to hit place. Same thing, the dialog box is going to pop up. I need to go into my project folder, okay? And I need to sort of, mine is a little bit more dense, maybe compared to yours, but I have this project living in VMP-pub, okay? Yours is probably going to read as some kind of a project file, okay? Go into assets, and my assets are in pages, and then I actually have another one down here called VMP-1 cropped. And there is the file that we just corrected, okay? So now I can hit open and check that out. Kind of fits in just like a glove. If we're paranoid like me, we can gently click it, then come up here to object, fit content proportionally. And now it's fitting in there like a glove. That's really cool. So yeah, I'm going to do something else right now. Well, no. I want to show you guys. This is a trick, okay? I could make a brand new, I could come over here in InDesign and grab the rectangle frame tool. Let's say I'm ready to place page 2. And I drag with the rectangle frame tool. And then I kind of come over here and make some adjustments, because I want it to fill the entire left-hand side of that page. And by the way, I'm not going to the bleed line. I'm just going to the edge of the piece of paper. And I'm going to show you another option to do this. I just Command C or copied. So Command C, copy, Command V, paste. Put that right. This is basically the same thing. I mean, this rectangle frame tool is meant to hold an object. This rectangle frame is already holding an object. So I could highlight this, hit Command D for place. Notice how it's going to take me to the same folder location. So InDesign will remember I can click 1.jpg. Great. But in this circumstance, if I just want to swap out that image, I just hit Command D. And I'm going to try 2.jpg. Of course, 2.jpg isn't looking so great right now because I have not done any editing yet, which is what we are about to do. So anyway, I'm going to Command S this and save. So now back to Photoshop, and notice what I just did. I held Command with my thumb, and I hit Tab so I can just go to Photoshop. All right, and I need to rocket through this relatively quickly. So again, I'm going to use the Straighten tool. Then I'm just going to massage these guys in a little bit. This really shouldn't take more, honestly, than I mean, let's do a test, and see how fast I can do this. A little bit, remember, is going to remain on the side. Hit the checkbox, image, image rotation 180, Command S it. Command S, of course, is for save. Now, this is interesting. By default, it took me to 16.jpg, but because I'm a methodical person, I'm going to go back to tab 3 or 3.jpg because I want to do things in order, okay? And you don't have to plug in the ratio again. It's still 8 by 10.5, okay? But I do need to continue to, I need to zoom in a little bit and straighten this document, okay? Come back out. It's kind of fun. You notice how I'm kind of zooming in and zooming out while I'm doing this. And then I'm also moving around using my magic mouse. So with my index finger, I'm able to kind of like toggle around and really just bomb around this document really quickly and efficiently. I'm trying to get this pretty tight. Command 0. Okay, we're good. Adjustments. Whoops. Image rotation. 180. Command S. I'm going to do a couple more of these before I place them in InDesign, okay? But to close out, 3.jpg is good. If I want to just close out just that tab, I hit Command W, okay? All right, now I'm going to highlight 4.jpg, same thing, straighten, but I need to zoom in a little bit. This is real fast stuff. Sometimes I think I was asking a student to do this, within like, let's get this done, within 15 minutes. And I think it's definitely doable, guys. If you focus, you can get these things done fast. I always kind of joke that, time is money in graphic design. But if you spend, for example, if this is sort of like a very hard fact, but if you spend 3 weeks or 2 weeks or even 2 days doing something like this in a graphic design office, I just, you're going to have a hard time maybe holding on to that job because they're going to think, well, Susie Q down the road can do this a lot faster. So I think we ought to hire her, instead. So, I mean, this stuff really does matter. You can't dilly-dally. All right. Okay. Working on 5. And the thing about graphic design and design in general is, yes, there is a lot of repetition. So uh, you're repeating a lot of the same operations over and over again. Hate to break that to you, but it's true. Hmm. I think that'll work. Again, this is not the final document. This is only, it's basically something to help guide us, okay, when we're doing some placement. I really like this page right here because it's a full spread across, the left and the right page. That nicely. Okay. Image, rotation 180, Command S it. Zoom in a little bit. Straighten tool. Drag. Massage those boundaries a hair. Zoom in, cruise around, right? Okay. Command S it. That one did not have to be rotated. That's nice. And I know this must be terribly exciting for you guys to watch, right? But just keep, I don't know. Again, repetition is, it's just part of design. Okay, folks? This page in particular is really nice. Look at, the slightly large text up here with the quote, and then this beautiful 3-column layout that is using a sans serif typeface, and then the page number really clear at the bottom. So just really beautiful, clear design, and there's not much to it. Just really great structure and organization. Okay. Having to massage this a little bit in. Hmm. Just want to crop this one in like so. Okay. Good to me. Image, rotation, 180, Command S, okay, Command W. You realize how valuable those shortcuts are as well, folks, okay? So we're at page 10. We're almost there. Straighten. Command 0 to zoom out. Command plus to zoom in. Cruising around quickly with my magic mouse. Sometimes I see students doing projects on their mouse pad, and I gotta say, I just think if I were in some sort of a torture camp, maybe they would look at me and say, do a graphic design project only using your mouse pad. And I would think, oh my God, because that is hell to me. So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I really like the Magic Mouse. And so it's a really great investment. They're about 50 or $60, but they really increase your productivity quite a bit. Obviously, we have them for free in the lab, um, but uh, uh, I would avoid using just the mouse pad personally. Okay. Okay, now we're on page 11. And this is another one where it's just like this kind of like spread across two pages. So that's the other thing that I really like about this VMP document. Zoom in a little bit. Hmm, okay, good. Nice. Page 12. Zoom in so we can straighten things out. Notice how I also, when I scanned these pages, they didn't come in as one.jpg or two.jpg. I think, you know, being organized within a project is really important. So, in other words, naming your files appropriately so that you know what's what. Take the time with those sorts of details. They're good habits to develop right now for when you get into a graphic design office, okay? Your colleagues will appreciate it. Sometimes I hit Command W a little too fast and it gives me that notification saying, wait, I can't close it yet because I'm still trying to save. I think there's a real beautiful sort of rhythm to graphic design, where with these repeated operations. And I sort of experienced that in my own life too. For example, waking up and making coffee every morning is, a habit or a ritual. Or, the way music, in a sense, kind of repeats a chorus or a line or a phrase, beautiful repetition. Nice blue, right? Okay, we're almost at the finish line, guys. Straighten. Oh, whoops, made a mistake there. So that's a good point. You don't have to always accept it. You can back out. So I'm going to try it again. Not sure what happened there. There we go. So you don't have to just use the corners too. You can sort of grab things from the top right here. Although I think I need to go back out a hair there. I think that's why I like to use the corners. I have a better handle on things. That worked out pretty nice, except I think this needs to come out a hair. This needs to come in a hair. So again, that idea of massaging. Good enough. Command S, okay. Command W. Last one. Woohoo. And I think this is such a fun kind of illustration on the back of this publication, which is so random. And, it kind of speaks to, I guess, just the playfulness of the company. But also, I think that there's a lot of flexibility in this project for you guys to really express yourselves. So in other words, for you to follow some functional, predictable kind of layout patterns for typography. But you can also find a lot of ways to express yourself. For example, a random illustration on the back of the publication. Okay, so we've done everything we need to do in Photoshop. Now we need to go back to InDesign. And remember, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save myself some time, and I'm just going to Command C this one. And watch this, guys. I am just going to drop, and I'm making sure that it's perfectly on the page, okay? The smart guides are helping me to do that. But this is all just the same frame with another file or image currently in it. But that's going to change here in a second because I'm just going to swap it out. I'm going to show you the power of working real fast in InDesign. Gotta make sure that one's perfect. You guys, that's the thing that happens when you start getting really into design is you kind of develop a little bit of appreciation for perfection, for better or worse. So remember, I just popped over to the layers palette. So we have typography, graphics, and then the precedent. So we want to make sure the precedent layer is highlighted. It is. So by the way, if we just kind of toggle this on and off, that's why we put it on one layer so that we can just, turn things on and off really easily. Anyway, page one is obviously supposed to be page one, but this needs to be page two. So just come over here, gently select it, hit Command D for place. Select 2.jpg, and so on. I think that this is also illustrating something else that can be really valuable in design, and that is batch operations. So I could have done one at a time, and there's a whole lot of back and forth and yada, yada, yada. But instead, I knew that I needed to edit all of those JPEGs, so I just did it all at once. So it's just a way to save time and make things easier on yourself, okay? Batch operations. Okay, this is 8. 9. 10. 11. Almost, guys. Oh, I made a mistake there. I might have to go back and, okay. We have to go back and fix 14. No problem. It's actually a good learning moment. Okay, so I'm glad that happened. So I need to go back to my Finder. I need to select 14.jpg and say open with Photoshop. And I forgot to rotate it. No big deal. Command S, Command W it. Okay, now let's go back to InDesign. And now notice how it's throwing an error. These all have this blue icon, this little chain link, this blue chain link, and it's saying, okay, that basically means it's a happy file. It can find it, no problem. But this is saying, hey, something changed. So you can select or highlight the file, or I guess the rectangle frame window. Then you can come over here to links and see there it is, 14 JPEG modified, double click to update. Or you can come over here where it says update link. There we go. So now the precedent is there. Now, by the way, I can come back to layers. I can lock this down, first of all, because I don't want to move it at this point, and I can make it appear and go away with ease. Because you are going to be looking at these pages and taking inspiration. I also want you to notice that sometimes when you're using InDesign, sometimes the pages that are high quality will appear fuzzy or blurred. And the reason why InDesign is doing that, it is trying to save memory so that it does not crash or so that the application can run a little bit more smoothly. So that's nothing to be worried about, okay? It's normal. When you export, things will come out full quality, okay? So I'm going to Command S this in InDesign, and I'll see you guys on the other side for the next tutorial, okay? Thanks.